Hi, guys. Welcome back to Old Gold. I am Eric, and today we have my esteemed colleague Jamila from the investor relations team who works with me, and of course, our fearless leader, Jeremy. So today we're going to be talking about gold. We're going to be talking about Chancery and some of the things that we have in the works. And take it away, Jamila. What do you? Jamila's the newest member of our team, and we're so happy to have her on board. So far, what's your experience been, and give us your take on the gold market.
Um, yeah, it's been I've learned so much in just a couple of months here. Because not only am I new to kind of the gold and silver commodity market, but I'm also very new to the royalty market. So learning both at once has been great. I will say that one of my favorite parts is just we have so many great uh, investors on the retail side here that are just have been wonderful to talk to and really believe in our story. And it's been great to connect with them. So, yeah, I, and yeah, the fact that we're such a small team and we do so much has also been very eye opening.
Yeah, we're very efficient at what we do, as it turns
Yeah.
out. We bring in tens of millions of dollars worth of investment, and we are uh, just a very small team of just kind of average Joes. We all have our own strengths. Ed, Max, myself, and you,
Yeah.
and Enrique as well. Enrique's a superstar with what he does,
Yeah.
and of course, we're all kind of led by Jeremy, who's a pretty heavy hitter in the industry. So
Yeah.
we're very lucky to have him.
Yeah.
So
And oh, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
Oh, and when I first came on board, you assess like who you're working with, and I was just going to say again, like everyone I've worked with here has been incredibly supportive, and I'm like, I understand why um, you guys stay and why the investors really feel confident and real confident in this team. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean
yeah,
that's pretty much for everybody watching, that's pretty much what we do. If you were to click the link down below, you
Mhm.
land on our landing page, and if you want some investor information, you'll get some information. And if you want to talk to somebody, we are the people that you end up talking with. And whether that's through email or whether you'd rather have a call on the phone or on WhatsApp, we do all of that. And that's what we do. In fact, Jeremy's pretty much in meetings and on the phone with investors all day long. I don't. I think Jeremy might sleep less than Trump does. If somebody said Trump sleeps like 4 hours a day, I think Jeremy might sleep like 1 hour a day.
yeah.
No, it's amazing, Jamila, to have you on the team.
So Jeremy,
Yeah.
yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, it is. We're all very happy. You're a superstar.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, yeah. So today, as I mentioned before, we're going to be talking about one of our biggest projects right now. Last week we talked a lot about tungsten. This week we're going to be talking about gold, and our project called Chancery Royalty, which is a gold and silver royalty company that we have put together, and it's gone so well. I mean, I don't know if any of us could have imagined that it would go this well 6 months ago when we were kind of just spinning things up. So, Jeremy, I'll let you take it from
Oh,
there.
yeah, it's been amazing. And thanks again to everyone who supported us since we started. And it was actually even less than it was 4 months ago. Would you believe, Eric? We started the journey. We bought the first LIBOR royalty from a third party. We then rolled in our Pilar royalty for stock, and Pilar's now set with a very substantial holding in Chancery, a very valuable holding. What else did we do? With Gold
Yeah,
Road Silver Royalty, we just did the 20 million Kefi royalty. You went off to Ethiopia with Max and Moneko 64. We
that
just
was
announced,
that was such a great trip. Max and Mario and I. Yeah.
then we've just signed a binding arrangement with
Go
Buxton Mining Group in British Columbia with Lester. He's going to start first pour in June, possibly before that, and 6% royalty on his operation. Very excited about what the guys are doing in British Columbia. And we have one very big announcement next week. We
Yeah.
hope to announce on the next podcast in Central Asia, which is a substantial royalty. And it's all part, isn't it? It's all part of us trying to, well, we know we're going to be the biggest. It's just a matter of time before we overtake Versamet and Elemental. But thanks again to everyone who supported this really exciting journey so far.
Thanks to all of our investors. We don't really take institutional money at all. For those watching that are not currently an investor or you don't know a lot about us, we're pretty much all retail. So we get a lot of sort of mom and pop investors that might put in 10, 20,000. We do get a lot of, high net worth individuals that see the value in what we do and they might put in 6 or 7 figures, but those are obviously very welcome, but they're very few and far between. The crux of really the bulk of really the people that invest with us are just average Joes, and they're very happy to have a chance to get into a pre-IPO company that clearly is undervalued, because a lot of times average Joes don't really have a way into that. It's really more institutions and high net worth individuals that have to put in 7 figures for that kind of a thing. So we're very proud of all of our investors and the fact that we can attract tens of millions of dollars from the average
Yeah, it's
Joe.
amazing. We call them the Barmy Army, don't we, Eric? Just amazing. I think we have over
Yeah.
2,300 now investors in our group. And wow, wasn't the response to Chancery's fundraising incredible? I've never seen anything quite like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and kind of in that vein of, just being new to our story. And like I said, when I came on board, I was new to royalty company environment. And so, question to um, you, Eric, or Jeremy, is, for someone who has been a typical gold or silver investor, how would you describe royalty companies as a kind of a differentiator, as something that they should invest in? Because I know it can be a bit confusing for some as they enter that market. So,
Go, Eric.
I'll let Jeremy take that. Well,
Oh,
what I can say is I know that royalty companies in general are viewed as much less risky than getting into other types of investments. Now, why that is, Jeremy knows a lot more about the details and the ins and outs because his entire background basically is in mining and gold, and royalties are really kind of a recent thing. So
yes.
I'll let Jeremy take the rest of that.
oh, well, it is arguably the best business in the world once you've got it all set up. Like the
Yeah.
hard bit is to get the royalties. Once you've got them running, and once you've got critical mass, it is an unbelievable business. And you have guys like Franco, Nevada, with probably 10 guys in the office running what I think is the best business in the world. I mean, Franco is the best business. So the it's just a long-term annuity, isn't it? It's different to say a hedge fund or an investment fund where January 1st every year you start back at zero, whereas in royalties, assuming you've done the work, you've got the royalties in place, for the next year you're going to have, well, for us, for this year we're going to have 3,700 ounces of gold coming into our books at $0 an ounce. Next year, with these two acquisitions, it might be closer to 7,000. The year after, when Kefi kicks in, it's going to be well over 12 to 14,000 ounces plus the Pilar expansion or growth. So 14,000 ounces times, what's the price today? 4,500. It's a lot of money,
Yeah,
and 95% margins.
Yeah.
So it's a beautiful business, and that's why there's so much appetite, I think, from our wonderful investors so far that just love the model, really love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely. So I'm glad you asked that question, Jamila, because there might be a lot of people kind of watching this and wondering, yeah, what is a royalty company exactly? So
Yeah.
that kind of clears that up. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Eric, the scene's
Um,
changing a lot, isn't it? With Tether on board now, isn't it? What do you think
Yeah.
about Tether, guys? It's what crazy new
It's
theme in the
it's
market.
interesting. Yeah, they're really soaking up a lot of the royalty industry, and obviously with what we're building at Chancery, we've had this discussion before. I don't think we would be. It's not going to surprise me if we're on their radar. Basically, is what I'm saying. Especially once we go public, considering what we have in the pipeline, and that pretty soon we're going to have, what is it, Jeremy, about 28,000 gold equivalent ounces by 20, is
29.
it 2027?
29. Yeah,
29? Okay.
it's a lot of gold, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. And of course, that may keep growing as we are always looking for more deals to put into the pipeline.
Yeah.
As Jeremy just mentioned, we've got a new deal in British Columbia, and we are sort of close to the finish line with something in Central Asia as well. So
Yeah. You know, the one
Yeah,
thing,
and you know
sorry,
how my brain. Oh, go ahead, Jeremy.
no, just quickly, one thing I
Go ahead, Jeremy.
talking with the guys in Central Asia and also Leicester, and here are two beautiful mines ready to turn on. But it's amazing. They both
yeah,
said to us, didn't they, how much all the other royalty players just messed them around, wasted their time, took months and months of due diligence. And that's not what we're about, are we? We're all about the handshake. We're like the old model of the 70s and the 80s, a handshake, the relationship. And when we say we're going to do something, we do it, eh? And it's been quite an eye opener, because I always say the royalty industry call themselves royalties because they think they are royalty. So we're definitely not like that. We're very common gold mining folk. We've come from the gold mining side, haven't we, guys? We've got 4 gold companies and
yeah,
learnt the hard way, gone through the tough times, and treating our clients with great respect and just delivering what we promise. Yeah.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because one of the questions that popped into my mind when I came on board is that we have so many new deals and people we're talking to is, what is the due diligence process at Chancery, and what is, I I think investors are happy to hear that it's not a 6-month long process, but yeah, just a little bit more insight onto what we look at.
Yeah, it's a great question. With Kefi, we did that deal in 3 days, which is unheard of, a binding agreement in Ethiopia. We immediately knew it was a world-class asset, probably the best undeveloped gold mine in Africa.
Yeah,
It had been DD'd,
yeah,
significantly already by other players. Another royalty group had spent 6 months mucking around, playing with the terms, wanting $500,000 for upfront legal and due diligence costs. So a lot of these assets we know pretty well. We're from the gold mining industry. It doesn't take, we have a lot of amazing staff that we can pull in from our other companies to look at these assets. We've got a team in Brazil that we've brought into this group, haven't we? Rafael and Marcelo, who are now great DD help for us. So yeah, we just know a good asset, and it doesn't require these long bureaucratic, desktop studies. I just can't stand that word, desktop study. It's just like, oh,
It doesn't sound appealing.
no,
So yeah.
with as Jeremy said, with the Kefi deal, I mean that was a very big deal. We put a lot of money into the Tulu copy mine to get that royalty, but at the end of the day, all the due diligence had already been done. All the African banks had done done their due diligence, and so there really wasn't much for us to do except just look at it and go, well, this is silly. Why hasn't anybody picked this up? So Jeremy's pretty known in the industry to look at something and he's got a very good intuition. And especially when the due diligence is already done, he just looks at it and says, you know what, this is definitely going to be a good deal for our investors. And so we pick it up. And it was such a great experience to go to Ethiopia. Harry was absolutely he rolled out the red carpet for us. We were treated like royalty. And it was just a really good trip. And it gave me a really good appreciation for that project because basically it's the most important mining project in Ethiopia. And the prime minister came out on his we had to take helicopters out to the site because we were staying in Addis. And we took helicopters to the west, which is where the mine is. It was about a 3-hour helicopter ride. Military helicopters. We had a military escort. And then the prime minister came in with military escort. And that was really impressive. It just showed, and Harry has a relationship with him, so that just showed the importance of what that project is in that country. And it was really cool. The prime minister was really nice. He's like my age. He's not old at all. He was probably in his, I'm 51, and so he was around my age. He was really nice, really cool guy. So it was cool to meet him.
yeah, I was very jealous on that. I didn't get a Guernsey on that trip. You and Max, Mario from Mineko 64. Mineko 64 has been a wonderful addition to the board of Chancery, also, hasn't he? Isn't he a great
Yes,
guy? Mineko 64 on YouTube.
he is. Yeah, he's got a massive, very loyal following, and him and I got to spend a lot of time together in Ethiopia, and we actually got to be really good friends. And so we're going to Korea in a couple of weeks together for the Tungsten project, which I think we might have mentioned last week as well. But
Why don't you
yeah,
mention
he's been a great asset.
why don't you just quickly give a quick plug for the tungsten, because it's getting pretty crazy out there in this market now at $30,000 a
Mhm.
Yeah,
ton. Yeah, just
yeah.
tell us what you're doing in Korea.
So Tiger is the CEO of that mine there. Our main mine for pure tungsten is in South Korea. Now, obviously, we've picked up the Tajikistan asset as well, which I think we might have talked about last week, and that's all under the umbrella of pure tungsten. But the main mine is in South Korea. That's been offline for about 50 years. The Chinese flooded the market with cheap tungsten, and so our it's very exciting because after 50 years now, we're basically slated to have our first raw material delivery this June. So the mine's back online. Tiger's been working his butt off, and so Mario and I are going out to Korea. We're going to meet up with Tiger, who I also was with in Tajikistan. So I've met and hung out with him before. He's a great guy. And his work ethic is crazy. He's always just working on something. So, but he's a great guy, and I can't wait to get. I love Korean food. I lived in Japan for years, but I've never been to Korea, and I love Korean food. So I think it'll be a great experience to eat the food and to go see the mine and to hang out with Tiger a little bit. And we'll get some footage from out there, and Mario will get some footage for his YouTube channel as well. And I think it'll be a great trip.
Amazing,
Mhm.
absolutely amazing. Jamila, don't worry, you'll get on a
Yeah.
trip very soon. I know Eric does a lot of the really exciting ones.
Jamila and I need to go to Brazil. Maybe we'll go to
Yeah.
Brazil together.
Okay. All right. Fine.
100%.
But
No,
no. And I think the pure tungsten deal. It brings to mind a question of we have these great gold and silver royalty assets, but would we, as we look at our growth story, would we consider investing uh, in other types of commodities? And so, yeah, I'll pose that question to either of you. But is there kind of a diversification strategy there?
it's a really good question. I know Eric and I think about it a lot also. We've said we're going to be very disciplined and stay purely on precious metals, not even platinum and palladium, just gold and silver. So, to be honest, I was very tempted to ask Tiger if he wanted a royalty in South Korea, but I thought that was let him do his own thing. Let him. He doesn't need our money. He's flying now, isn't he? Pure tungsten. I said the other day, pure
Yeah.
tungsten will be bigger than Almonte and will be bigger than EQ Resources in 2027. Let's see if he does it, but there's no reason. He's definitely got the two world class minds to do it. So I think going back to your question, Jamila, let's stick with gold and silver. There's so many amazing opportunities in gold and
Yeah.
silver, and let's also remember what our big picture is. We think gold will have another run up to 7,000 by the end of this year, and who knows next year. I mean, wow, this money printing machine's just about to go up to a new level, don't you think, Eric, with all the wars and the terrible things going on out there?
Yeah.
There's a whole lot of things that are happening, and one of the biggest reasons for gold kind of running back down to a support right now is just a liquidity crisis. With the war and everything, it seems like there's a lot of people that are hitting up a lot of these funds and institutions because they want to go to cash. Well, these funds and institutions don't keep that much cash on hand, so what they have to do is they have to sell their liquid assets, whether that's equities, whether that's their gold holdings, whatever is liquid. They're trying to unload it so that they can meet the margin calls and they can meet the requests of their investors. And so that's all we're seeing right now, really, as far as I can tell. And I don't think that this rundown in gold has any more than maybe a couple of more weeks left, if that. And then we're probably going to see, another bull run into the end of the year.
Yeah.
So, and
Yeah.
and I don't. I'm not an expert. I'm not an expert, but that's just I've been kind of in and out of trading for about the last 15 years, and so that's
Oh.
just kind of what I see.
And we're
Yeah.
and we're not the only ones that think, it'll continue to have a bull run. What I've been seeing from, analysts in the market is, anywhere from the 6,000 to 7,000 range. I think I just forwarded to you guys, JP Morgan thinks it'll go to 6,300 by the end of the year. So I think that's the consensus in the market today.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first leg up really, it was mostly central banks and institutions. The retail crowd hasn't really gotten in. And once that happens, of course, you're going to see the chart just kind of go parabolic and then vertical at some point in the future. That may take the bull market typically lasts somewhere between 6 or 7 years, and we've got a year and a half on it, so we've got a long way to go
Yeah.
before gold runs out of steam.
Guys, one of the advantages for us at Chancery and the way we moved so fast was the big announcement in Central Asia we're going to tell everyone about next week kind of fell in our lap when the war broke out with Iran, because there was another group in Dubai that was about to write the big check. They ran away, obviously, with all the problems in Dubai,
Yeah.
and then wow, it just landed in our lap. We saw it, we knew it well, and we just said we grabbed it. Right, it's going to be a beautiful royalty for Chancery. It's going to have substantial GEOs. So sometimes that's the beauty of our model, isn't it? We use these pullbacks in gold to then add bigger GEOs to our portfolio.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's really very similar to a strategy of anybody. The smart money is grabbing gold with both hands as it drops back down to support, because we all know where it's going. You know what I mean? It's not going to continue to run down. This is a bull market, so all this is just kind of a hiccup. So the smart money is grabbing with both hands at this point, which is maybe one of the reasons why we've had such a great response to Chancery.
Yeah.
Whoops.
And I think one of the questions we get asked the most is, since we are adding all these great assets to our portfolio, gold's having a great time in the market right now. Where are we at with our going public strategy? I get that question all the time. So,
Sure.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a valid question. As an investor, I would expect that that would be one of their first questions,
Yeah.
right?
Well,
Yeah.
I can add some color on that.
So, Jeremy, do you want to address
The
that?
great thing about royalties is you can list
Okay.
super fast, because it's not like with a mining company where you have to do years of audits and update your 43101s and show that you have sufficient funding for the next 12 months. You can list very quickly, and so we're looking at the TSX probably as our main listing, probably destination. I know I just had a call this morning on a SPAC in New York. That's another idea. So we'd like to list in the next sort of four to 5 months, and I think the re-rating. I mean, if you think about this round that we're doing right now for the $3 round, puts it on a price to NAV of only 0.3 times. And compare that to price to NAV. Compare that to Elemental, that's on 2 times price to NAV. Versamet 1.7.
Yeah.
We're doing these rounds. As we all know, when we do these rounds for any of our group, we do them really at great value. We want to give our investors significant upside, 4 or 5 time sort of type returns at least. I mean, look at some of the deals we did last year. Tucano, we did a 50-cent round. We did an 80-cent round for Tucano. I think the stock's going to list, that's our beautiful mine in northern Brazil. That's going to list, I think, with Jefferies and Canaccord in June at probably $7. So these are, we do deliver, and I know Live Gold, which is one of our royalties, is listed in the next couple of weeks, isn't it? So again, we did that at 50 and 80 cents. I think we'll come out the gates at $3. So when we do these private opportunities, we like to get our guys set at great levels. So yeah, so that's why we're I think we're getting a great response, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we've had the earlier round that we did for Chancery before the current round. The investment came in. The velocity of money was absolutely it blew us over. Basically, the investors were knocking each other down to get in the door. Basically. And it blew us all away. Jeremy and Max and Ed have been in this industry for quite a long time, and they've seen a lot, and it surprised everybody. Just the velocity of the investment that came in, the speed of it, and the volume of it was incredible.
I joined the
I think
week in the middle of
know
it.
value. Yeah, right.
Right. And then
Yeah, it's a bit of chaos.
Yeah, and it was just on the phones like a couple days later. I'm like, oh, okay. And there was all these investor inquiries. I was, I come from both an institutional and like a private market background, and I was like, I haven't seen this much interest in a long time. So, yeah.
We kind of threw you into the fire, but to be fair, you handled it like a pro without missing a beat. So it was a good sign.
I tried.
It was a good sign.
Jamila, you're in Arizona, Scottsdale, is that right?
Yeah, and it's not too far for me to drive over to Gold Road. So yeah, over by Kingman,
How was your
and that
visit
was
to
my
Gold?
first time seeing a mine.
Yeah, what did you think? Because you saw Jim
Oh
and
my
the
gosh,
team at Gold Road.
yeah, and they brought in a few guys to just tell me how how they're finding new veins and how they're it was an abandoned kind of mining town. And then they came in and they've restarted all these operations. And there's so much yet to be explored in that area, really for miles and miles. And to see their passion, to see the history and how much more opportunity there is was incredible. And I actually got to go down like 400 feet in the mine. I was just, I, even though I'm like a person who gets motion sick, I was very I was very excited to go down there and actually see the veins in the ore and everything. It was incredible.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
So just a reminder, Gold Road, we have
I'm glad you got to see that.
90% of the silver output at Gold Road for life of mine, which is another beautiful royalty, right? I mean, every day we get the daily reports
Yeah.
from Jim Cooley, Raj, and Alex and Will. And some days are like 20 ounces of gold, and some days are 30. And I think they're going to get to 50 ounces a day, which is pretty amazing. 50 ounces of gold is a lot of money. But the way it works at Gold Road is
Yeah.
Yeah.
for each 1 ounce of gold, you generally produce 2 ounces of silver. So if they do a 30-ounce day, that's 60 ounces of silver times 90% will get 54 ounces for Chancery. So life of mine kicked off January 1st this year. It's our first cash flowing royalty.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if anyone has the
Yeah, it's
opportunity to
fantastic.
go out there, one of the things that surprised me was the amount of mules out there. And I had to ask the operators at Gold Road. I had to ask Jim. I was like, "Why are there mules everywhere? Like they're like cats." And he said, back in when the mines originally were in production, that's how they used to move the product, move silver, move gold. And then once it shut down, all the mules were still there. So you guys will see a lot over there if you have the chance to visit.
I may get back to the States late summer, and if I do, I'll come and visit you, and
Yay.
we'll go to Gold Road.
Perfect.
Well, maybe guys,
Yeah.
we can
All right,
wrap it
guys.
up. And another great second show, Eric. It's amazing to have
Yeah.
you as Gold Road, and maybe just tell anyone listening how they'd like to get in contact with us at Chancery and Pure Tungsten with the current rounds, perhaps.
Yeah, I'm gonna put the links to our landing pages down below, just like the other episodes. So if you're interested in getting some investor information, or if you're interested in chatting with one of us about what's going on, or if you're just really wanting to invest and you want the subscription documents, that's okay too. Click on the links for either project. Well, there'll be a link for Chancery and a link for Pure Tungsten, and we'll go from there. That'll take you to the landing page. So. We hope you enjoyed this. Thank you, Jamila and Jeremy, for joining, and we will see you guys
Great,
next
mate.
week.
Thanks,
Thank
Old
you.
Gold.